Tonight's topic of discussion, the curious case of Puja Khedkar, the young IAS officer from Pune. It's got the national imagination because she has come to represent, in a perverse sort of way, everything that is wrong with Indian bureaucracy or Babudom. First, she was caught using a lal batti or a red light, which is a status symbol or a power trip symbol on her Audi A4 car, a luxury car. Then when social media was outraged by it, how is it that a young officer, IAS officer on probation can afford an Audi luxury car and ask for a lal batti on top of it? And social media folks started digging deeper into her antecedents. That's when it turned out to be even more sinister. It turns out that she faked her OBC certificate. She also has a fake disability certificate. How can someone be on such a power trip and the system, it turns out, is not doing anything? Also, her father is a retired IAS officer. Now, the point is, it completely ignores the fact that you are a civil servant, which means you are a servant of the civilian population, of the citizens of this country. And for all her faults, she has merely been wrapped on the knuckles with what they call a punishment transfer, a punishment posting. But what about actual punishment? How is it that an IAS officer, a young IAS officer on probation, can afford a luxury car and then goes on this power trip about having a red beacon light on top of that car? How does she own property worth few crores at the start of her career? And I believe there is documents to show that her parents own properties worth hundreds of crores. Isn't this an absolute mockery of the system? But first, the story.
ऑफिसर्स का केबिन मांगा जो कि ट्रेनिंग को नहीं मिलता है। उन्होंने खुद की ऑडी का जाकर वहाँ लेकर गई। उन्होंने अपनी गाड़ी पर रेड बीकन लगाया, रेड लैंप लगाया। तहसीलदार ने साफ साफ लिखा कि उनके और उनके पिताजी ने मुझे ऑफिस में आकर धमकी दी।
झूठे सर्टिफिकेट की जांच होनी चाहिए थी। एक आईएएस का सिलेक्शन होता है यूपीएससी में, तो ये बहुत सारी जांचें बहुत एकदम कड़क होती है। हम भी मांग करते हैं कि इसकी इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए।
I'm not authorized to speak anything right now, so I cannot comment on this.
आज अपन ज्वाइन करना है?
Oh, I'm very happy to join in Washington district, and I'm looking forward to working in it.
All right, so let's get you an overview of this case and why is everyone so outraged by it. Number one, who is Puja Khedkar? She's a 2022 batch IAS officer. She's on probation, belongs to the Maharashtra cadre. She secured All India rank of 841 in the UPSC exam of 2022. She's currently in a probationary role as assistant collector in Puja and in Pune, and of course she got transferred from Pune. Puja Khedkar's father also happens to be a retired IAS officer. Now, the fraud, the charge against her is that she submitted fake disability and fake OBC certificates in order to get ahead in the competitive race that is in the IAS. Khedkar even submitted a mental illness certificate. Now, I don't know if such a certificate gives you any kind of leeway or cushion as far as the competitive IAS race is concerned. Puja Khedkar also skipped the verification that was necessary for the disability certificate. Now, here is the power trip. As an assistant collector or assistant collector rank, she went on to demand that she has an official car with a VIP beacon and a VIP number plate. She wanted what is the ubiquitous power symbol in this country, a lal batti on top of your car. Puja Khedkar fitted that VVIP beacon light on her private car, the private Audi A4 luxury car, which God knows how she could afford at age 22. She's also demanded an official chamber along with personal staff and a constable on duty as a personal security officer. She also refused the allotted chamber that was given to her because there was no attached bathroom in that chamber. She also put her name on the additional collector's office while the additional collector was away on leave. And then she demanded an official letterhead, visiting card, as well as nameplates for an officer, mind you, who is only on a probationary role as of right now. She also demanded official accommodation that is meant for senior IAS officers. And the action taken so far, this is where the story gets so outrageous. The action taken so far is merely a transfer to Washim district from Pune district so that she can complete her probation in Washim instead of Pune. The other action that's been taken is by the Pune police, who are probing her for violations of using the VVIP beacon light on her private Audi car. But we're getting some breaking news in connection with this story, and it's coming via the central government, which has now constituted a single-member committee which will be headed by an additional secretary rank officer who will look into this case of Puja Khedkar to try and verify her candidature claims, her disability claims, and other claims that have been submitted at the time that she got through the IAS. The committee will submit its report in 2 weeks. It'll be chaired, like I said, by a senior officer of the rank of additional secretary. Payal is now joining us with more details on this. So Payal, even the central government forced to take cognizance of this case and the sheer outrage that this case seems to have managed to generate on social media, certainly.
Of course, there was a lot of outrage against the officer, the way in which she conducted herself. The fact that, the Narendra Modi government here, Zaka, the center, said that nobody is a VIP in this country. And that's the reason every minister was asked to remove the red beacon light, if you remember, a couple of years ago as well. But with multiple violations coming to the fore, the central government has taken note of the entire matter. And the DOPT, which is, of course, the concerning ministry, has in fact now ordered inquiry through a one-member panel, which is, of course, the additional secretary level officer who have to submit the report within 2 weeks' time. So obviously, the center now jumps in, given the fact that this has created a huge outrage on social media and people otherwise as well.
All right, Payal, we'll leave it at that. So the central government constituting a committee headed by an additional secretary rank officer to probe how did this really junior civil servant, a probationary IAS officer, manage to get a red beacon light on her Audi A4 car, asking for an official chamber, visiting cards, etc., so on and so forth. Let me bring in our full panel joining us this evening here on Brass Tacks. Kiran Bedi is member of the Civil Services Association, former IPS officer, also former governor. She'll be joining us in a moment. Arun Bhatia is a retired IAS officer. Dr. Ajay Kumar, also formerly with the IPS, now spokesperson of the Congress Party. Susi Ben Shah is spokesperson of the Shiv Sena of the Shinde faction. And Vijay Kumbhar is the RTI activist who first brought this case to light. Vijay ji, मैं आपसे शुरू करता हूँ. How did this case come to your light? Of course, everybody is talking about this lal batti on the Audi car, but it's beyond just that lal batti. Reportedly, she faked her OBC certificate, she faked her disability certificate. ये सब कैसे हुआ? मतलब, how was it allowed to happen?
ये सब हुआ इससे कि उनको जो पहली पोस्टिंग मिलनी थी, नॉर्मली होम टाउन मिलता है रिटायरमेंट के एज के समय में, उनको पहली पोस्टिंग मिली, वो भी ट्रेनिंग की हैसियत से होम टाउन पुणे मिला. उसके बाद एक्चुअली मुझे इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं था, लेकिन जब उनकी जो उन्होंने कारनामे किए कि ऑडी गाड़ी लेके गई, रेड बीकन की लाइट मांगी, बंगले मांगे, सिक्योरिटी मांगी, और उन्होंने वो जो तहसीलदार था उनके पास वो अपने पिताजी को लेकर गई, उनको धमकी दे दी कि मुझे एक अच्छा ऑफिस मिलना चाहिए, नहीं तो बुरा होगा. ये सारी धमकी रिकॉर्ड पर आ गई, ये सारी बातें सोशल मीडिया में आ गई. उसके बाद लोगों ने पूछना शुरू किया कि ये कैसे हो रहा है. फिर मेरे हमेशा की उसकी वजह से मुझे भी शक हुआ कि जो आईएएस ऑफिसर शुरू में ही उनको पूरी तरह से काम करना शुरू करना, उसके साथ ही अगर इतनी बड़ी गड़बड़ करती है तो कहीं ना कहीं उनके सारे जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स है या उनका जो कुछ भी यहाँ तक आना है उसमें कुछ ना गड़बड़ हो सकते. उसके बाद मैंने जो पब्लिक डॉक्यूमेंट्स है जो सरकार की वेबसाइट पर है वहां से डॉक्यूमेंट लेने शुरू कर दिए, और उसका जो एनालिसिस किया उसमें समझ में आया कि उन्होंने नॉन क्रिमिनल में गड़बड़ कर दिए, उन्होंने मेडिकल बोर्ड के सामने नहीं हो गए, उन्होंने मल्टीपल डिसेबिलिटीज दिखाई दे रही है
Okay,
और उनका जो
let me
पिताजी
ask
का एप्लीकेशन
Kiran
बताओ।
Bedi this. Ma'am, generally there is a suspicion, if not a distrust, if you will, of ordinary people of IAS, IPS, etc. In this case sort of exemplifies why there is that mistrust. Because how can you have a 22-year-old on probation officer demanding a lal batti on her Audi luxury car, demanding that she get a different chamber, a special, a better chamber because her current chamber did not have an attached bathroom. She wanted a personal staff as well as a personal security officer. I mean, to my mind, this is just outrageous. This is why people are distrustful of the bureaucracy in general. It's because of officers such as this.
I think, first of all, I'm glad the Home Ministry has set up an inquiry because now we will know what she has also to say. Why did she do what she did? It's very good. So we need to wait for the inquiry, number one. Zaka, but if whatever has been reported so far, if it's true, then obviously she's an exception to the rule. I've not seen any probationers, I've not heard of probationers doing this kind of behavior at all. So I think she is a rarity and an exception, and she's come with a very strange mindset. I think we need to go back to her interview. What kind of interview did she have with the interview board and the UPSC? It will be very interesting to see what did she say to the questions which the UPSC asked. So I think what's this happening is an exception to the rule. I have not seen probationers conducting themselves in this manner at all. So I don't generalize.
But
I would not tell you
doesn't it exemplify to you a sense of entitlement? You know, there is a phrase on the street that is very often used in this country, "Janta hai mera baap kaun hai." In this case, this is an exemplification of that. She knows that her father is a retired IAS officer. She comes from an elite and privileged background. If that means she can bend the system, she's bending the system. That's exactly what has happened.
So she's come with a mindset. I would still say this is not the rule. I think this is turning out to be an exception, and we should see it as an isolated case because this is not the training. This is not the sensitization with these probationers are coming. In fact, they're coming with very heightened understanding of conscientious and sensitivity and public service. I think we need to understand what's gone wrong with this person. So therefore, go back to the interview, what kind of interview she had. And number two, of course, she's a probationer. And if the inquiry establishes it, she can be discharged because she's still on probation. She's not confirmed. So as long as she's not confirmed, the government could let her go.
Arun Bhatia is also a retired IAS officer. The second part of this story, which again is why people are outraged about it, is had this happened to anyone else who perhaps does not have this sense of entitlement or whose father was not a retired IAS officer, not asking for a lal batti on an Audi car, is the fact that what is this punishment? This punishment is just a transfer from Pune to Washim. It's not even a punishment. It's just a rap on the knuckles. Shouldn't there be more serious action taken against the likes of Puja Khedkar, if nothing else, to try and make an example that, you know, IAS officers, IPS officers, babus as the common man calls them, should not think that they are some kind of first-class citizens and the rest of us are second-class citizens.
Yeah, you're right. 2 points. First, I would like to disagree that this is a rare case. It is rare because the probationer has done it. That is rare. But an IAS officer being corrupt is not rare. When we talk of the whole country being corrupt, do we still want to say that everybody is corrupt, all the departments are corrupt? But the IAS officers sitting at the head of each department, controlling these vast empires, they are not corrupt, they are honest. In front of his nose, money is being taken, money is being collected, but he is innocent. So it's not rare. The IAS officer is as corrupt as any other officer of any other department. That's number one. And we are always trying to shield him because we like to believe that yes, they are honest, they come through an examination process, impartial selection, the brains in the country. You don't require brains, you require values and dedication, honesty. You must have a track record of working as an NGO, sensitivity to poverty, integrity. Those aspects are not checked by the UPSC or getting 100 marks out of 100 in mathematics. So the first point I want to make is the IAS is as corrupt, maybe more, because they're handling bigger jobs, bigger departments, more responsibility. Number two, yes, of course, what is happening now is farcical because the tribe supports itself. The officers support each other because most of them are in this game. If they run against the system, they'll be ousted. So what needs to be done now is a simple FIR. The collector of Pune should put an FIR where there's fabrication of documents, that is forgery. It's a very heavy section. So by now, the FIR should have been given. How much do you want to study this case? How many days?
The other thing that is outrageous, and I want to get Ajay Kumar to weigh in on this because he's a former IPS officer, left the service, is now a political party spokesperson. Dr. Ajay Kumar, how can a person, a young woman in this instance, fake an OBC certificate, fake a disability certificate? I mean, from whatever we can see on the pictures, she seems perfectly able-bodied. There is no disability from what we can see in the pictures. And most importantly, she's also apparently given what is a mental illness or a mental health certificate. Now, this is the first time I'm hearing that there is some kind of concession for mental illness or mental health considerations to make it through to the IAS.
So, Zaka, few points. One is I don't totally disagree with what Dr. Kiran Bedi said for the simple reason is, it is not an exception. You had an ASP who tortured father and son in Tamil Nadu with rods and irons and they were in ICU and it's common. Second issue is, every collector, you go to the Hindi belt, there are 5 cars ahead of the SP, 5 cars behind the SP, 5 cars ahead of the collector. You look at any guy in the civil services today, the kind of the flaunting which is happening is, it's an epidemic. So it didn't, like Mr. Bhatia said, it happened in the probationers, fine. But the rot is an institution. Now UPSC, honestly, I never thought it would happen. What was UPSC doing? And that is the critical question which all of us seem to miss. How can you not verify a physical differently able
disability, yeah.
Country.
Yep.
So how can you not do it? First question. So the rot in the UPSC, whether it is institutions across India, but the UPSC rot, like the NTA, and it's not political. Let me be very candid. How did the UPSC not have a physical disability confirmed? That means you're not confirming SC certificates. That means you're not confirming OBC certificates. That means anybody who's close to political people. The father has 100 crores, God save this country. He's an IAS officer. The daughter sits in Audi, God save this country. But the institution of the UPSC is totally diseased. At least I thought I would never say it. But because that means you are pushing people who you like or don't like or for consideration and not verifying those certificates. So they will be new as tribal boys who are getting who are not tribals. And that is what scares me. In my time, when we were in service, there were 1 or 2 people whose inquiries happened. There were there was an IPS officer whose inquiry was conducted. There was a couple of IAS people and they were dismissed from service. But the issue is that this girl didn't go for the medical exam. And the UPSC still issued 800 rank. You don't get 800 rank with the Indian Administrative Service. It finishes off in the first 100 or 115 or so.
Yep.
So she got the IAS because she claimed she was physically disabled. Or OBC, I don't know. I don't think even the OBC finishes at 200 odd, if I remember those rankings, even now. So my question to you, sir, is why isn't the story on the finishing of the UPSC, NTA, the chairman of NTA, the chairman of UPSC, and I'm not holding grudge for the RSS or anybody else, but the institutional integrity. And this is what is going to ruin everything. The only thing which was safe in this country was elections and competitive exams. 2 things. We have seen NEET. Now we have seen UPSC. God save us, because UPSC, I never thought. This shocked me for the simple reason that the UPSC didn't verify. So the inquiry should see who in UPSC was responsible for passing this girl's physical disability certificate and giving her a letter of appointment without the verification.
So Susiben Shah, as far as I understand, forgery is a crime as per the, previously as per the Indian Penal Code and now as per the Nyaya Sanhita. Why has the Pune police not registered a case for forging documents, for misleading authorities? Yes, they filed.
Mrs. Zaka, I'd like to tell this. As far as Puja is concerned, Puja Khedkar is concerned, she's a irresponsible, who believes in high-handed behavior and a pompous officer with a sense of entitlement. But there are many such IAS officers, especially in Maharashtra cadre, who have illustrious career, who have served the country in the true sense of the word, especially Maharashtra. So let us not throw away baby with the bath water. Having said that, the state government has nothing to do with the selection and appointment of IAS officers. Let me tell you that. Here today we have a
Ma'am,
Sarkar.
the fact that this happens to be a young IAS officer is one part of it. But at the core of it is that she's forged documents. She's produced fake certificates. That's a crime. Whether you do it or I do it or Kiran Bedi does it or anybody on this panel does it, that's a crime as per the law of this land. Why aren't you registering a case for that?
But you are right, Mrs. Zaka, and therefore it has to be clearly established. As far as IAS officer are concerned, there are procedures, there are tribunals, there are CAT. If we want to really pin her down and expel her, due process of law, the rules have to be followed, which will further strengthen the case. No, we are not a banana republic.
Ma'am, my understanding is anything starts with an FIR. In this case, in this express instance, the FIR has been registered for why she has asked for a lal batti. That's the only FIR, the criminal case that's been booked as far as this particular individual is concerned. My point is, irrespective of whether UPSC takes cognizance, I believe we just broke that story about the centre forming a one-member additional secretary level officer committee to probe into this. All that is fair enough. But at the core of it is that she's forged a certificate. That is forgery. That is cheating.
Why are we in a great hurry and circumventing the law? Now there is a one-man SIT form.
Okay.
It will move swiftly. Whether you file an FIR today or 2 days thereafter with proper investigation, which one is better?
Arun Bhatia wants to come in. If ordinary people in this country are accused of forgery, immediately the police will file an FIR. I don't think they'll wait for the central government to form a committee.
I should be given a second.
Let Arun Bhatia come in, please. Yes, he was raising his hand. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia.
Okay. Now the point raised was that there is a procedure that we are protected by the Constitution, the IAS. Correct?
Okay.
That is, if you want to suspend an IAS officer, you require the sanction of the Government of India. If you want to impose penalty, dismissal, reduction in rank, stoppage of increment, you require the concurrence of the central government. For filing an FIR for a prima facie offence, no permission is required. It is the duty of the collector because the probationer reports to the collector. The collector will check the credentials.
Has already filed the report.
As forgery is found, immediately an FIR should have been sent to the police station in Pune. It's not been done because obviously there is pressure. In a normal case, it would have happened. How long do you want to take for examining these documents? You see, you can add more accused in the case. If some UPSC member is at fault, you can again send the supplementary charge sheet. You can add him as an accused. You can add witnesses at any stage of the proceedings. But now,
let me ask Kiran Bedi, and Mr. Kumbar is here. He is the RTI activist who brought this to light in the first place. And Kiran Bedi ji, as per the documents through RTI that have been accessed by Mr. Kumbar, this person's father, Puja Khedkar's father, who also was an IAS officer, owns, between the father and the mother, they own property worth over 100 crores. Puja herself, who's just in her early 20s, just starting her career, has property worth 10 or 15 crores. Now, isn't this a fair question to ask? When people of this country are struggling, when a quarter of the population or a fifth of the population is below the poverty line even today, how is it that a 22-year-old who is just starting her career has property worth 10 or 15 crores and her IAS officer retired father has property worth hundreds of crores?
Well, that could be another area for inquiry when the government is appointed. Now, but at the moment, I think there are two separate things. One is a probationer's conduct. I was answering your question concerning a probationer. I was not answering your question concerning a service as a whole. That is why I was specific, saying let's isolate the case and not brush the service as a whole. And in her case, an inquiry has been appointed. All these deficiencies, all delinquencies will come up to surface. It won't take long. And I already said if the inquiry establishes that she has done these misconduct, she's still a probationer and not confirmed, she can be discharged from service. I think that's the relief, that you don't have to go on to any other law courts. Because non-confirmation means that she can be discharged as a probationer. So I think that is what we need to watch on, that as soon as the inquiry is concerned, her misconduct, rather than instituting another inquiry on an FIR can go simultaneously, no doubt about it. If there's but we can even go back. What did the UPSC do? Why did they not verify these certificates before an appointment letter is done? Because these documents ought to have been verified, but that would be a matter of investigation now, once an FIR is registered and that she had gone false. But as far as she as a probationer is concerned, I'm not talking of the service as a whole. That's not what I got your end. I'm talking of she as a probationer. I don't see many probationers doing exactly what she did. I've seen probationers
wanted to come in, and then I'll go to Mr. Kumbar. I have a question about the RTI and what he has discovered in the RTI application that he filed. But yeah, Susi Ben.
Allow me, Mrs. Aka, two seconds uninterrupted. You see, as far as the IAS officers are concerned, as I said, UPSC controls their appointment and selection. Having said that, once an IAS officer is appointed, and Mr. Chaudhary will agree with me, we as people's representative have to go back to the people after 5 years. Here they have a clear-cut 35 years in service with no questions asked. Maybe there is a time, this is the time for us to review this procedure. Maybe after 5 years, should there be a recheck, kind of a question answers to them? That's one part. Secondly, as far as this government is concerned, the Mahayuti government is concerned, especially headed by Honorable Chief Minister, it's a no-nonsense government. We stand any privileges. He's dead against our Chief Minister with what of responsibility. I can say he's against any entitlement or VIP culture.
So even file an FIR, ma'am, for what is expressly an egregious offence. Please file an FIR for forgery.
Yes.
What are you waiting for?
You see, Mr. Zaka, there cannot be knee-jerk reactions. There cannot be decision taken in a TV studio whether an FIR.
So then why was she transferred? Was that also knee-jerk? Why was she transferred from Pune to Washim? Was that also knee-jerk?
Ms. Bedi will bear me out. We are just waiting, as she rightly said, inquiry that forms the basis for you to.
No, you should have waited for the inquiry before transferring her also. No,
it will be a swift. No, if you are not willing to give any time for a.
Ma'am, I am just asking a question basis your answer. You said we'll wait for the inquiry before we file an FIR, but already she's been transferred. What has she been transferred for then?
Bear me out that no FIR can be filed unless investigated thoroughly.
Okay.
It will not stand before the court of law.
कुंबर जी ये बताइए आपके जो RTI एप्लीकेशन से ये भी बाहर आ गया था कि इनके जो पिताजी हैं जो रिटायर्ड IAS ऑफिसर है और उनके माताजी हैं बिटवीन देम कोई 100 करोड़ प्लस के प्रॉपर्टीज उनके नाम पे हैं.
ये बताऊंगा, लेकिन उससे पहले एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगा. ये सारे लोग जो बोल रहे हैं कि FIR के लिए इंतजार करना चाहिए, एक चीज तो साफ है, तहसीलदार ने सीधा लिख कर दिया है कि उनके पिताजी और उन्होंने मुझे धमकी दी कि मुझे अगर अच्छा नहीं ऑफिस में मिला तो आपको बुरा हो जाएगा. वो कलेक्टर को उन्होंने रिपोर्ट दिया. तो इसमें FIR क्यों नहीं होता? आम आदमी जाता है तो अगर थोड़ी ऊंची आवाज में बोलता है तो उस पर FIR होता है. तो फिर यहाँ FIR क्यों नहीं होगा?
और ये तहसीलदार ने लिख के दिया है, मतलब वो भी सरकारी नौकरी है.
तो ये होना चाहिए. तो दूसरी बात, इसमें मैंने कहीं भी RTI नहीं डाला. ये सारी डॉक्यूमेंट्स है. उनका बर्ताव सामने आने के बाद सेक्शन 4 में जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स जैसे कि ECI में उनका एफिडेविट है या UPSC की वेबसाइट पर उनके सारी जानकारी होती है, कैट की वेबसाइट की, यहाँ से भी जानकारी लेकर मैंने उसका एनालिसिस किया. इनका जो पिताजी का प्रॉपर्टी सामने आई, 110 एकड़ उनके फैमिली में खेती की जमीन है. महाराष्ट्र में एग्रीकल्चर लैंड सीलिंग एक्ट है, उसमें 54 से ज्यादा एकड़ जमीन वो रख नहीं सकते.
और इनके पास कितना है? इनके पास कितना है?
110 एकड़.
110 एकड़ जमीन है इनके पास, which is against the Maharashtra Land Ceiling Act.
नहीं, महाराष्ट्र एग्रीकल्चर लैंड सीलिंग एक्ट. मैं ULC की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. एग्रीकल्चर लैंड सीलिंग.
Okay. So you're not supposed to, as per the Maharashtra Agricultural Land Ceiling Act, one person one entity, one individual is not supposed to have more than 54 acres of agricultural land. इनके साथ 110 एकड़ agricultural land है. Wow.
7 फ्लैट्स है, उसमें से एक लोखंड वाला में.
Yeah, Mr. Bhatia.
6 शॉप्स है जिनका पूरा एरिया 1,60,000 स्क्वायर फीट है. कमर्शियल प्रॉपर्टी 1,60,000.
1,60,000 square feet of commercial property.
17 लाख का वॉच है.
Wow.
डायमंड्स है. मैं ये नहीं बोलता कि कोई भी कमा सकता है, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
Mr. Bhatia, yeah.
लेकिन अगर इतने प्रॉपर्टी आपके पास है तो आपको
जी कुंवर जी, okay, yeah, Mr. Bhatia. And then I'll come to Dr. Kumar after that, yeah.
I just want to clarify one point, because we are keeping on being told, inquiry hua, it will be investigated, why are you in a hurry, can't you wait, all the facts have to be gone into. For lodging an FIR, the police only need prima facie evidence of an offence. That is there. After the FIR is registered, the police does a more detailed investigation for preparation of the charge sheet. So the point that people are making and I'm making is that there is enough ground for an FIR. If the FIR is not being registered, obviously it is pointing to some sort of pressure.
No, so in this case, Mr. Kumbar is saying that the Tehsildar has given a written complaint saying that I've been threatened by this lady officer and her retired officer father. And that nothing has happened on that complaint. No action has been taken on that complaint. No FIR has been filed on that complaint.
I was just going to come to that because I didn't know about that. I've just heard it now on the panel. That is enough ground for an FIR
to register an FIR. Correct.
It's not even 24 hours.
So Dr. Ajoy Kumar, now as people in social media, on television debates, as this story gains traction, now we've just heard from Kumbarji and I'm astounded. Here you have the father of this officer in question has 110 acres of agricultural land when by an act of the Maharashtra Assembly, you are barred from holding more than 54 acres of agricultural land. He has more than twice of that.
Zaka, one thing my colleague from the Shiv Sena, they said, I'm not going to score political point, but it's in a political point. Which government posted her in a home district? Whether it is the minister, it wouldn't have been a minister for sure. It must have been some chief secretary, the secretary training or something who did the probation's posting in Maharashtra, not central government. And the Maharashtra government must have sent her to her home district. It smells. You know, at least I've been probationer, Dr. Bedi's been, Arun Subhatia has been, and everybody's been a probationer, obviously, when they joined. And I don't even imagine this kind of nonsense could happen. So she goes to the home district, thanks to Maharashtra government, somebody in the government, I'm not saying politics. Second issue, even if an IAS officer doesn't spend a rupee in his life and earns his salary and you average it out to 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs for 35 years of service, it works out to 4 to 5 crores. That's it. If he doesn't eat, he doesn't bathe, he doesn't buy soap. Okay? He doesn't bathe, he doesn't buy soap, he doesn't buy petrol. The total amount of salary is average it out in 35 years is 1.5 lakhs into, because you get 2.5 lakhs at the end, but you get less than 1 lakh at the beginning, so it's average of 1.5. You multiply it into 30 years of service. All right? What I'm saying is it's a joke. The property, all the top. No, one sec. I'll finish.
The state government has nothing to do with it.
One sec, madam, I don't interrupt you, so please don't interrupt.
Yeah, Chaudhary ji.
The top, no politician stays in fancy houses like Arun and Kiranji are exceptions, so I accept that. But you look at you will hardly find on the central part of Delhi, all civil servants, nobody's asking these questions. Nobody seems to ask these questions to the income tax and the great enforcement directorate. All the top prime properties of central Delhi, Hyderabad,
what does the state government have to do with it? Have a robust UPSC
civil
system.
Service, madam, let me complete, ma'am. Let me complete. Interrupt you. Why do you do this?
I'm also running out of time, so 10 seconds, Dr. Kumar. Yeah, I've got to wrap up. Yeah.
Institutions. There are lots of good people, fact of life, but there's a huge amount of bad people now in the system.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Like I said, this case, and the reason why we're putting it up on the 9 o'clock show tonight is because I think it's touched a raw nerve amongst common people. Reactions have been pouring in on our social media handles, on our website, homepage, etc. as to how can a young officer get away with this. There is a reeking sense of entitlement, which is what people are upset about. That she has a luxury car, wants a red beacon on top of it, has demanded for a separate additional chamber, all kinds of demands, which is all born out of a sense of entitlement, that she is entitled to a different set of treatment from ordinary citizens, and that is what people have taken grave offense to, and that's why people have been outraged by the story.